So we're moving right along with order of operations, and some of you have seen this before, but this is a really important concept because you're going to use it, and next year in 7th grade math, you'll also use it, 8th grade algebra, 8th grade math, but order of operations is extremely important. So I want you to take a moment and try to solve this problem. Make sure you pause the screen. And so some of you might have gotten different answers, such as, let's say, 7 could have been one of them, 13 could have been another, and okay, so depending on if you got different answers, people became like really aggro and started arguing. So they came up with what we call, to end all these arguments, they came up with what we call the order of operations. So that is a particular order that we have to solve when we have different operations. So I have adding, multiplying, and subtraction. So which way am I going to solve that? So for this particular example, and we'll get into the details, I have to do the multiplication first. So that's going to be 4 times 2 is 8. So notice I just rewrote the expression. So then it's going to be 3, I just go left to right. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. And so again, we're going to be practicing this, but it's really important that we pay attention to the order. So you're going to have a chance again to pause the screen, write this down. You might have seen this before, PEMDAS, but there's something that I add to it, and I call it boxing the M and the D, and boxing the A and the S for subtraction, addition and subtraction. And then I like to make these little arrows because it could be either or first. And again, we're going to practice with this so that will make more sense. But I don't ever want you just to think it's just PEMDAS, because the M and the D could be switched around, and the A and the S could also be switched around. So the first thing we're going to look at is what we call our parentheses, also called grouping symbols. So these are the common parentheses that you'll see, but as you have parentheses within parentheses, they kind of get into some fancy grouping symbols. So you might see stuff like this. So whatever operation is in the parenthesis, we have to do that first. That's what the P stands for. Okay. And then the second thing we have to do is we have to evaluate. Remember, evaluate means to solve the exponents that are in the expression. So this is your powers, so it's 5 squared, or any roots. And a root, this would be like a square root. So the square root of 25 is actually 5. And we're going to practice this in 7th grade. But what times what gives you 25? It's 5. And then the third thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply or divide. And that's why I like to have this boxed up. It's multiply or divide from left to right. Just like we read from left to right, we evaluate our expressions from left to right. And then again, it's going to be add or subtract. Okay? Because if subtraction became before addition, I would have to do that subtraction first. So I'll go back to this last example again that we just did. So I go through from left to right. There's no parentheses. I go through again. There's no exponents. And you can even write this down to help you. But again, remember, you always want to box it. And then you can put your little arrows on top. So there's no parentheses, cross that off. There's no exponents, cross that off. Is there any multiplication or division? Yep, I have to do this first. So 4 times 2 is 8. Again, I'm just rewriting this. So there's no more multiplication or division. There's addition and subtraction. So again, I just go from left to right. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. So once it's all crossed off, you're all done. So again, some of you have seen this before. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But the key thing that they didn't teach you is, or that they might have forgotten, is that it could be multiplication or division. addition or subtraction, whichever way is left to right. Again, pause the screen, write this down. So just some of the things, again, to remember is that we read from left to right. So that's exactly how we're going to solve it. So if you have multiplication and division in the problem, you solve it from left to right. So a lot of people think, oh, you have to do the multiplication first because the PEMDAS has the M first, but remember we boxed it. So it's actually going to be the division. So 20 divided by 5 is 4, and then 4 times 2 gives us 8. And again, if you have addition and subtraction, you solve it from left to right as well. So left to right, this is all I have left. So it's going to be 12 minus 2, which is 10. 10 plus 5, which is 15. So let's just practice this one real quick. And I like to call it make your pizza slice. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to write this down. And again, whenever I write it down, I box it and I put my little arrows. Think about them being eyebrows if you want. Okay, so no parentheses, no exponents. I have multiplication and division next. Oh, here's my multiplication. So I'm going to rewrite it as 5 plus 30. And then 5 plus 30 is 35. So what I mean by the pizza slice is this right here. Or you could say an ice cream cone. Or just an upside down triangle. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and write it down. Until you become a master at this, it's okay to go ahead and write it down. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so no parentheses, no exponents, multiplication and division. Oh, I have to do that first. So it's 9 plus 24. That's 6 times 4 minus 7. And then 9 plus 24. Again, if you need to do that old school, make sure you do that. So 33. And then 33 minus 7 is going to give me 26. And again, I would do that old school if you needed to. I'm sorry, 33 minus 7 is a 3. I'm going to borrow from this guy. And that's going to give me 7 plus 7 would be 14. So I have to go one more to 6 and then 2. So 26. And I'm going to go ahead and make another video to show the practice problems.